Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GAN's processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you ready to begin? I'm not sure if my microphone was on there properly or not. Did you hear me? Okay, I think we're having a little technical difficulty, so bear with us a minute. I think we'll get Mr. Keshe up here shortly.
Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you now.
Yes. Yeah. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever or wherever you listen to this series of knowledge because of the Keshe Foundation. Today's teaching is mainly based on follow-up of the last week. If in part of the teaching we understood or come to comprehend the process of the creation, the process of the changes in the dimension of creation. Our team in Australia have made a small recording of the last week, specifically the topic which we want to carry on with in the teaching of today in a little bit more in depth. And I would like, Rick, if you could play the recording, the part of the last week's teaching, and then we'll build on it. We'll go in more detail. Have we got the tape ready to go?
Yes, it's called A New Tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, here we go.
In the world of creation, we had the two extremes, except in the case of the Creator and Mitra, where we could never bring the functionality of the soul within the functionality of physicality. We had the physicality hidden within the soul, or soul within the physicality, or in conjunction of the two, one would never have the understanding of the totality, where we could transit but exist in both directions. With the new cycle, this is what Einstein said: when you turn one atom, the other atom changes. This new dimension will blow that field which commonly exists between all the cells of the universe into that position, which means all the created things, as a gift from the Creator in a way, become able to transmute between the two dimensions. There's a reason for this, and it's taken a long time for it to be done, and it has reached its pinnacle, and it will be completed. It's already in the process of being completed. Was to take from the essence of the soul of every created things of the time, beginning of time, an essence of the creation of the soul or the center, and create a new creature which carries all the essence of the created in the new soul, which can with it go from the soul of the Creator to the soul of physicality of Mitra. This is what the whole knowledge is. The Creator is the universe, and Mitra the dimension of physicality and its behavior towards the dimension of physicality. And with a new system, every creature in the universe will have the understanding of the capability to transmute between the two. This has a lot of implication for all races in the universe, because now they all become the same. In the coming time, we will see even change in the position of galaxies, position of universes. Many systems will move due to the changes which has been brought. Man doesn't have that knowledge as such to monitor, but we'll have the knowledge to see, we'll have the time to see that with the new fields, as we call it, a lot of things will move in the right position to keep that ability to change between the two. That you don't need to kill to keep the physicality going, you don't need to steal. And the soul does not need to be encaged or to escape, to be out on its own, to be able to confirm its existence. And this process will complete very soon. That the whole of universal community will be able to have the benefit of the two, both in the dimension of energy or matter, which never existed. When we released the soul, we had to get rid of the physicality. You call it death. When we brought the soul, you had to give it the physicality, and you go through the dimension of the birth, and then you have the whole commotion of bringing the two. With a new system, both soul and the soul of physicality work together in the existence of dimension. We expect a massive change in the physical characteristics of human race in the coming century, because we change into the emotion of the physicality. The way, as I said many times, but many never understood, Indians and Pakistanis were the same, till one chose to take different kind of energy in the other one, and we see change of the feature. Now, with the balance between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality of man, many of us will change feature, without a shadow of a doubt. Man will change the faces of anger, man will change the faces of hate, man will change the face of warmongering, because we get satisfied in the fields of it. And this is part of what will be and what has already started, and the completion of will be the birth of Mitra. Physical completion of birth of Mitra in a physical dimension, not in myths. And then we have the soul of the Creator, which the two will complete the cycle. And then, as I said very recently to one of my listeners, then we'll see if Adam will eat from the apple of love and giving it. And then we'll see how humanity will change. And the whole creation will change. We are at the verge of that change. Much, much closer than anybody could think of, not only a human race. From what we heard and from what we see, many of us up to now in different part of the teachings have been taught, have been informed, have been brought to see gradual process of the change of the humanity. In a hidden way, in the Keshe Foundation teachings, and in a hidden way, in introducing the enhancement units, we have started this process. We have started the process of transition from the point of living in one dimension. As you remember, when we showed the enhancement units, most of them live into the dimension, especially the body enhancement unit. This unit is so fundamental, is so beautiful, if the humanity understand its power and its capability. When you look at the enhancement unit, what is inside, what is on the wall is the fields of the matter state of the man, but at the same time feed back to the man in the center. Man, being the creator thing, has still become the center of creation itself, where the field of the plasma from the center feeds out, and at the same time, when the outside feeds in. In a way, the totality of the shell becomes the creator, the feeder. And then the body of the man in the center, as a matter state of physicality, becomes the receiver. That's what we call the Adam and Eve. But both live within each other, and both allow one to be part of each other to exist. In a way, we have started understanding the two dimensions, but now we can explain it in more detail. We can go into the details of understanding how it's come about, what's the process, what the purpose. When you look at the enhancement unit, it's so beautiful if you could realize the beauty of it. You see, we have many reactors sitting around and being on it. The reactors will allow the whole system to be the creator, the part of creation. The system becomes, in a way, a new dimension, a new process. And the whole structure changes, as we can see, as we understand. In that process, what we see is that you have many reactors sitting around the body of the system, as we see. And these, each one gives one and some of its fields to the body. In so many ways, we have created the love of creator within the structure of the physicality of the man. When you hear in the teachings that we bring a new dimension, where the position of the galaxies, the position of the body of the man will change, is the truth about what is to come. In the dimension of the creation, we always look at things in a different way than what we could and what we should have. When we talk about Mitra, what has happened? Why is the new cycle that all the races of the creator across the universe and universe move into the position of not consuming, but connecting? By connection, receiving what they need. When the creator created Mitra for love of his life, to have a lover, to have a partner, Mitra never took dimension of physicality. Mitra always stayed in the dimension of fields and energies of the creator, the same as the creator. In that process, when it came to understand what we call the love of the creation, Mitra over time has gone through every string of the fields of the universe, and it's taken the best of all, whatever that could be, beauty of the eye, beauty of the soul, beauty of whatever. And in that totality has brought that position of the creation of Mitra in the dimension of physicality. So when Mitra appears amongst man in the dimension of physicality, she has the beauty and the knowledge of the universe within her, which means through it, she's connected to a new dimension that She has the power to be both in the dimension of physicality and the dimension of the soul of the creator as energy. In a way, when we introduced the vertical system a couple of weeks ago, was the beginning of the introduction and this work to change the man from the energy of the creator to the dimension of transmutation, transportation, to the physicality of the man in another dimension. In a way, man now has the knowledge as creator has given to him to be, as he said, I made man in the image of myself. But from now on, that image is free, it is, it will be, and shall be, even in the knowledge of the creator. This is the beauty of the very simplifying the knowledge in systems, and very much simplifying everything that every man and every creature in the universe can understand. This is what we said, when you go to space, you don't need to know the language, as you are in totality connected to every language of the universe, which the Mitra has brought and has made sure any new generation will receive the same. We have brought the knowledge of the universe in very simple systems, from man to frog leap, to jump across without going through more rigmaroles of religions and all sorts to understand Imango. In a way, mankind now has the knowledge, the same as what Creator has released across the universe. Man does not need to be educated in classrooms, and man does not be educated with anything else. The Creator is peaceful, so no being across the universe shall ever kill. In a way, when you hear in the tape, when we say that there will be huge changes in the even position of the stars and galaxies, then you will understand very clearly why and how. When we change the soul of the man, when we elevate the soul of the man to be able to interact with all the fields of the universe, would man ever kill again? As he has what he needs, access to the language, access to the knowledge of the universe, access to every energy that it guarantees his survival. Then the fundamental changes we discussed before will come into operation, as there is a new dimension. Would the man needs a digestion system? Would the man need the mouth? Would the man needs the eye to see? Would the man need the breathing system? When it manifests itself in the dimension of physicality. And then, as the physicality of the man changes, and all the fields of the universe go through the same balance, would the galaxies will stay the same position that allows the creatures in their process of life consume other things or destroy other things. So we understand the fundamental change has started. In a way, what the Creator wanted, that the humanity to become a peaceful man, the humanity has become part of the universal community, and peace has become part of the man. For a very, very long time, we tried to change the man, to become part of, to be the essence of the Creator, by sending the messengers and by bringing scientists to make the life more comfortable for him to understand. But man has not understood. So this time round, we brought the systems that the man can see with his own eyes. This time, we have created the man of physicality in the dimension of his own physicality. If you look at the enhancement unit, what have we done? You interrupt your soul with the dimension of your physicality. Now we interrupt you with a system that the dimension of the soul of physicality and the soul of the man open up. In a way, we have created a dimension which has the both the giving and taking. And we can, in a way, at a point of sending, bring all the energies to center, and at the point of delivery, to move the energies to outside to become the dimension of physicality. The essence of the creation has changed. The essence of being created has changed. And this process has started by what we call manifestation and the birth of Mitra. The evolution of the man and the universe shall start. It's not that it'll be at the of a finger, but in that process, many things over all the fields to balance simultaneously will create the changes. When the cosmologists look into the sky and compare the skies from now in 100 years, they will see the fundamental change. We have the records of the skies in past 100 years. We've seen things, how they move, and they will see a new horizon. They will see a total change. And then in that process, all the creatures of the universe, as I said before, will have access to everything. Thou shalt not kill. As thou has been given the resources of the fields and knowledge of the universe, that it only taps into what it needs at the time of the need, at the position of the need. This is why we start teaching for 5 or 10 minutes times in teachings, not like before for hours and hours. But this condensed 5 or 10 minutes is more than ever mankind could ever hope for to receive the knowledge of the creation and the creator. The new enhancement unit is the beginning of the process of introducing man to both dimensions, to eye of his own physicality. The new enhancement units, especially the vertical one, especially the body enhancement units, will bring that change. We go to mosques, we go to churches, we go to synagogues to find the elevation of our soul that might become elevated. Now, through the same system of the enhancement unit, the elevation of the soul to the parallel levels of the unicorns can be attained. We don't make temples, but we make the position for the man to be. And once you are elevated, there is no need for another. But it has to be understood that man has fundamentally has to change. Man fundamentally has to bring that process of understanding of the working of his own soul, his own dimension. I do whatever I like, and then I go into the system and I'm clean. No way. Would you like, on the position of arrival, having a leg and arm or half of something or half of the other thing arrives without you? As you want to arrive complete, you have to go into the system complete. Not only in the dimension of physicality, but in the dimension of the soul, in the dimension of the soul of physicality. Mankind has been taught the knowledge of the creation in past 10 years. But mankind needs to understand it. Mankind needs to comprehend what these changes mean. I'll have everything, yes, but you have the knowledge of the creation, but does not mean you can abuse the knowledge. In so many ways, not only in the process of the teaching of the man in past years, we have taught you step by step. As I said, when I teach the unicorns here, many races in different positions have moved to the same level. They are moving, And there are races which are slightly ahead of this present time, but will bring you to that point in the coming time. So what we understand is that the soul of the Mitra, when manifested in the dimension of physicality, have the beauty of every single cell which has ever been created in the universe, as she spent her time to collecting the best of the essence of theirs from the center of the soul of each one. Goes back to the writing that even a stone has a soul, even an atom has a soul. And Mitra, in the essence of the fields, has gathered to every corner, has made her job to bring the best, to create when it comes that all are brought together. The mother of the physical creation in the new dimension, where the man, the creatures of the creator, can transmute between the soul and the physicality, or the plasma of the no dimension of physicality to physicality at any point in the universe. In a way, the new generation of the man will not have egg and a sperm. It will be created from the fields of the soul of the mother and the father, from the love of the two. And in the interaction of the two, as they gather the fields, the child can be born on earth in the shape of the man, can be born on another dimension in any shape or form, as it guarantees its survival. Now, man becomes truly the man of unicos. But now we truly become what we call the dimension of the creation. And in that process, then you can have the child from the two earthly being and born in another dimension and have the shape and the dimension of the other. But this process allows the two partners to be from different races of the universe for the first time, that by releasing their fields, they can create the new child of the universe, where it will take shape according to the position, as did the child of the man, as will do the other races of the universe. In a way, this was essential to be done, that as we have seen, and man has been ignorant to it, many races became not each other's enemy, but they did not interact, because their interaction and becoming one has created a lot of other problems. With this position, with the change totally, we have said, all these, which even man is not aware of these problems in the universe, are resolved in Mongol. In a way, we allow the races of the creator to intermingle. We allow the race of the universe to understand each other. We allow the race of the universe to be able to communicate with each other, to love each other. And in a way, one of the beauties of the soul of the physicality of the man with the love of Mitra was to understand the essence of emotion of love, which does not exist in the universe. This is why Earth was chosen to be the center of the interaction of the manifestation of the physicality of the Mitra. Where man taught Mitra in the essence of fields and energies what the love is, and she made sure that in that process, when she manifests herself in the dimension of physicality on this earth, she can feel, she can touch, she can be part of that essence of man's love. And this will become one of the biggest gifts mankind has ever given to the unicause and to the creator. The essence of loving, the essence of giving unconditionally, the essence of existing without taking. In a way, man shall never kill, as he's so busy giving that he is not concerned in what he receives. Is a condition of the true love. When one falls in love, he doesn't care, or she doesn't care what is eaten or not, what is wearing or not, because To be with a lover is more important than what it carried in a dimension of physicality. In a way, with today's teaching, we bring a meaning to the essence of the work of our systems, to the work of the universe, to the creation of the Mitra, and to understanding the love of the Creator. For the first time, all races of the man will have the knowledge of the Creator, not in the image and soul, but in knowledge, in what I call the love, and in what he made him to wait so long for manifestation of Mitra, to show what we call the apple. The fruit of waiting so long for Mitra, the mother Mitra, to collect everything which was needed. You call it Eve, but Eve took her time. She traveled every corner. She made connection with every cell of the universe. And from the center of the soul of every single one, she took one string of the field, which was the strongest and the best, that he not only manifested in the dimension of the soul of the entity, but carried the essence of the creation of the entity. And collection of all these, the best, has become to be in essence the seed, the soul, the physicality of the Mitra to be manifested. Mankind will understand in a coming time how beautiful the whole process of the creation shall be, where the child from the point of inception is created out of the soul and not out of the physicality, which has no need for dimension of destroying, taking, even taking in the womb of the mother from the mother to survive. Now it works totally different way. The child lives within the womb of the mother, but his soul has been created first, which means it's part of the lover of the love of the mother. In a coming time, I'll go through this in more detail. In a coming time, mankind will see this. And this is the reason why we brought the enhancement units, for you to physically see the interaction of the two souls, the creation of the body of the man. When you look into the enhancement units, when they run, when we create the condition of the every resources available, and we put the two plasmas of the two lover in the essence of their soul, we shall see the creation of the soul. And then, while changing the fields, we shall see the creation of the physicality of the souls. The enhancement units are not there just for you to be busy with, to get rid of cancer. This is the dimension of the man. To get rid of this, or to have something happen. The essence of the soul of the system is to create a perfect child, is to create a perfect man. Nowadays, you go and get the test tube baby with your physical sperms and eggs. There, we create a condition of the perfect life within the structure for those souls who care to create that, what we call the next generation. They create the next generation not for them to be theirs to hold and to love and to imprison the child to the position of the what we call physical mental condition of what they want, but we allow the soul to take its own dimension and its strength. We allow the condition of the position of the soul to be decided by the soul itself and not interact with the womb of the mother, that it has to manifest itself in the shape of the man or the other. In the coming time, mankind will be part of it. Mankind will become the totality of it. Mankind will come to understand how much, to what extent man has a need to change. The new enhancement units are the window to the future of the life of the man. The new enhancement units are the window to the changes for the man to come. The new what we call vision enhancement unit, are there to create the condition for man to see the first journeys through the dimension of physicality, where he will see through the eye of the soul, but not eye of the man. Those of knowledge seekers and people who will use the new vision enhancement unit in so many ways will see the vision of the soul, and where they might receive the repairs of the vision side of the man. This is what we want. This is what we plan. This is what is to come. Gradually creating the condition that the man slowly become to understand the time of the change has come. The time of understanding the truth about oneself has come. And the time for man to change has come. To change into the dimension of understanding. For man to change in the dimension of being the true man of the Creator, which means to be part of the ethos of the life in the universe. To do good, to act good, and to think good. When you think good, you cannot do wrong. When you think good, you cannot do anything which could be outside the boundaries of understanding. And when you do good, you do nothing to harm the soul. The thinking, the doing, and the kind of the living is part of the process of the creation. And when there are all three in perfection, you live the life of the Creator. Then you understand what it means. I made man in the image of myself. I don't do wrong. I don't think wrong. And I don't talk or do anything else wrong, as I take what I need at the time of my need. I have said this in the position of the beginning to the end, even with the setting up of the Keshe Foundation. Those of you who are close inside the Keshe Foundation know. I take what I need, and everything goes in for the others and what is needed to be taken. This is not just the teaching, it's the way of living. It's the way that I take what I need to live the process of comfortable life, but all is there for the others to be able to take to do. And when one takes from it, it means the other will suffer with it. When one steals from it, is when the others suffer from it. The Keshe Foundation structure is set that way by the principle of the Creator. I was explaining this to people of authorities a few times in the past years. I close all my banking system around the world that no one can tell. He takes what he needs, hides here and hides there. Everything goes to the foundation. And I take what is needed, and everything foundation makes goes into it. I don't live a life of poverty just for the others to have. I live a life of good that I can do good for the others to do good. I wonder how many of you could live that life. Unless you live by correct conduct of the process of the living. This is the way it has to be. This is the way we live by example. And this is the way through our example, through our soul, we teach the man to live the same process. God has no banks, but he banks on his creatures and what he has created, and the souls which has been from him live the same process. You take what you need, and from it, the rest is there for the rest to take. Then with that process, you don't need to do wrong, you don't need to think wrong, and you don't need to even talk. The process of the understanding is simple. If the man understands the process of the creator's work, we do the same thing in the enhancement unit. We give as much as the soul can take. Those of you who have used the new enhancement units and the processes of it, the technology of it, are fully aware of. It comes to the point I cannot take anymore. Why? Why can't you take it? Because you do not want to face the next step, where if it is with you, you should fear no change that you cannot take, but you feel it's there for you to give, not to take. Until you don't understand that process, the system doesn't work. It's the knowledge of the universe, it's the knowledge of the soul, and we interact with your soul. When the physicality says I had enough, it means I cannot accept the change. I cannot be part of it. Because this way I can confirm my existence, that I suffered, that I lived. The process of the creation from now on becomes simple, where we start life in the dimension of the soul. So we do not steal from the physicality in the womb of the mother from the mother. We don't become a sucker. We don't become somebody to be dependent on. And when you are a soul in the dimension of life, you take from the field of the universe. I tried to bring this knowledge to you, even in a simple position of the creation of the maggraph system. When you use the maggraph system, you don't create energy. You take energy from the universe. When you plug it into the wall, you nano-coat the wires. You take from the environment what you need. When there is no consumption, the wires don't need to produce. You take what you need. The first principle of the creation for man to understand was introduced through maggraphs to you. But you only got stuck with the physical dimension, how much more I can pay less to be able to do other things. The whole process of maggraph system is to create energy, and at the same time as you connect it to your house, you take what you need from your own essence, even your own soul walking into the house, that it gives to the cooker and the heater and the light. But man, again, never understood. Never wanted to understand, because then there was something wrong. If you look at every product Keshe Foundation has put out over years, has a connection with the working of the balance of the environment and the soul. And the only thing anybody has been interested in is, would it take my pain? Would it give me cheaper electricity? Would it do this? Would it do that? You haven't asked yourself one question. Would it make me a better man to give, to find balance? When you have a headache, you have an energy which you don't need. You use the system just to transfer it through to the patch or to the pen or whatever else. But you don't look at it the other way. Did I need to have a headache? What's the cause of? Why do I live in the dimension of physicality? To be able to suffer in a physical dimension. Why can't I raise the level of my soul that in that position will sort out the headache which I have created myself from the energies which will take from me? You take energy from the food, you give your energy to the pen. Why can't you give that energy to your stomach as a food and get rid of the pain and the headache? The headache of the man, in truth, is his own lack of understanding about the creation and the purpose of his creation. Maybe maybe today's teaching open your eyes into a new dimension. And then the beginning of another cycle. Think how you can create children of the man in a dimension of the soul first. And then see how you can allow it to grow to a physical dimension in the womb of the mother or outside. The knowledge is in the hand of the man. The totality of the cycle of creation is within the man. And then you will understand the true virgin birth through interaction of the souls and not in the dimension of physicality. I'll leave this big teaching for you to contemplate. Try to understand it, and then add it to the other teachings of the past few weeks, and try to see if you have matured. If you have matured to see the truth and to understand it, and to come to the point that you do not live in the dimension of physicality this earth, but you leave this planet in the dimension of the soul. Maybe then you understand, if the soul of the moon accepts you, you shall be there in no time. No need for flying systems and no need for anything else. But till then, we give you a helping hand. Till you learn to walk through the dimension of the soul, we give you that hand out to carry you like your father does to his toddler as he starts walking. Rick, if we can go to show the same video again once more and then go to a commercial break and we come back, please. Have I quoted you somewhere? Are you still with us?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I just had to turn my mic on there. Yes, we'll get that ready to go.
The whole process of the teaching of today is for mankind to understand how kind the Creator has been to him, and he has denied his kindness. He has denied the love of the Creator. We can see your screen, Rick, or chat. We can see the chat of KF SSI workshop.
Okay, there we go. Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe, and we'll be back in a few minutes with the remainder of the 405th Knowledge Seekers Workshop.
Can I?
On... Yes, go ahead.
Can I ask Knowledge Seekers, you listened to this at the beginning, you had the teaching, and listen to it again now, and see if it has the same meaning at the beginning, now that you have the knowledge, what it means, what is there to be delivered. Thank you very much, Rick. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank you. Okay, we'll play that now.
In the world of creation, we had the two extremes, except in the case of the Creator and Mitra, where we could never bring the functionality of the soul within the functionality of physicality. We had the physicality hidden within the soul, or soul within the physicality, or in conjunction of the two, one would never have the understanding of the totality, where we could transit but exist in both directions. With the new cycle, this is what Einstein said: when you turn one atom, the other atom changes. This new dimension will blow that field which commonly exists between all the cells of the universe into that position, which means all the created things, as a gift from the Creator in a way, become able to transmute between the two dimensions. There's a reason for this, and it's taken a long time for it to be done, and it has reached its pinnacle, and it will be completed. It's already in the process of being completed. Was to take from the essence of the soul of every created things of the time, beginning of time, an essence of the creation of the soul or the center, and create a new creature which carries all the essence of the created in the new soul, which can with it go from the soul of the Creator to the soul of physicality of Mitra. This is what the whole knowledge is. The Creator is the universe, and Mitra the dimension of physicality and its behavior towards the dimension of physicality. And with a new system, every creature in the universe will have the understanding of the capability to transmute between the two. This has a lot of implication for all races in the universe, because now they all become the same. In the coming time, we will see even change in the position of galaxies, position of universes. Many systems will move due to the changes which has been brought. Man doesn't have that knowledge as such to monitor, but we'll have the knowledge to see, we'll have the time to see that with the new fields, as we call it, a lot of things will move in the right position to keep that ability to change between the two. That you don't need to kill to keep the physicality going, you don't need to steal, and the soul does not need to be engaged or to escape, to be out on its own, to be able to confirm its existence. And this this process will complete very soon. That the whole of universal community will be able to have the benefit of the two, both in the dimension of energy or matter, which never existed. When we released the soul, we had to get rid of the physicality. You call it death. When we brought the soul, you had to give it the physicality, and you go through the dimension of the birth, and then you have the whole commotion of bringing the two. With a new system, both soul and the soul of physicality work together in the existence of dimension. We expect a massive change in the physical characteristics of human race in the coming century, because we change into the emotion of the physicality. The way, as I said many times, but many never understood, Indians and Pakistanis were the same, till one chose to take different kind of energy in the other one, and we see change of the feature. Now, with the balance between the soul of the man and the soul of physicality of man, many of us will change feature, without a shadow of a doubt. Man will change the faces of anger, man will change the faces of hate, man will change the face of warmongering, because we get satisfied in the field of it. And this is part of what will be and what has already started, and the completion of will be the birth of Mitra. Physical completion of birth of Mitra in a physical dimension, not in myths. And then we have the soul of the Creator, which the two will complete the cycle. And then, as I said very recently to one of our series, then we'll see if Adam will eat from the apple of love and giving it. and then we'll see how humanity will change. And the whole creation will change. We are at the verge of that change. Much, much closer than anybody could think of, not only a human race.
Water is the foundation of our life. It is part of every living creature. Pure water gives you the energy of nature. Now you can have this energy in your home. The Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer is designed for your daily well-being. It increases the pH of the water so your body can absorb more oxygen and stay in its natural condition during the day. Keshe Foundation Alkalizer and Energizer. Be pure like the water.
Okay, welcome back to today's 405th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 4th, 2021. Mr. Keshe, are you ready to continue with the workshop here?
Yes, ready and willing to share the knowledge and the love of the Creator.
Okay, how would you like to proceed? Are you open for
As
questions?
usual.
Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
if there are any questions, as usual, there are a lot of questions.
Well, we just have a comment in YouTube from Hassan who says, "We love you, Mr. Keshe. Thanks for all the love you give unconditionally." And we have a couple of attendees with hands up here. So Ed can go ahead first, and we have Dirk after that.
Good morning. This is Ed from Indiana. Mr. Keshe, what I have been wondering over the last couple of teachings is our inability to use our soul to fulfill our physicality needs. Is it basically an emotional impatience where we are not willing to wait for the soul energies to create the proper fulfillment of our needs, that we want to shortcut it? We're not willing to accept the process. We want to hurry it up, our emotional impatience, so to speak, or the fear of not having, we don't think it's going to happen, or what?
It's a combination of the two. We are impatient to find a way to get rid of the hunger, so we go and kill to get it. We are impatient to receive the energies of the universe for our structure to work within the fields of the magnetic field of the containment. We breathe. if mankind realizes that in essence of the creation, the dimension of the motion of the fields on this planet, which create the amino acid, are sufficient enough to be adjusted to meet every need of the man, then man will not kill. One of the best examples of this absorption of the energy is what we call now the viruses. We get them to us, we attach them to us, and then we let them loose. Why don't we learn how to absorb these energies without them becoming viruses? Why don't we learn the ways to absorb these energies that they become the fields for the lunch or for the dinner? We don't take any water to a space. We don't take any food to a space. We don't take any toilets with us to space. How come we are setting it up in a few months' time to be done, and you're happy to be there, but you don't want to do it yourself? In a way, we are using the transportation enhancement unit as a way for man to start learning how to tap into. Your 5 minutes, 10 minutes on board of one from one city to another will not teach you, but they will set the process through. And the more people we can get into these systems, the more frequent, the more body starts doing it. While you're on board in that 5 or 10 minutes, your body taking all the energies which it needs, is given all the energies. You go home, the wife is starting, I cooked you the most delicious food, your favorite. You say, I'm not hungry. Then what does she think? Oh, and you do this, you frequent travel between every morning between New York and Beijing, and then you go back home to New York in the evening, and every night you're not hungry. I think your divorce papers to today's understanding would be on the table. Who's the mistress? Who's feeding you? Then the wife needs to understand. You said, you know something? Come with me. I'll go to Beijing tomorrow. You come with me. When you come back in the afternoon, she doesn't feel hungry. Tell her, who's your mistress? Your soul. Now he feeds you. The purpose of the transportation enhancement unit is not for you to get somewhere. It's to train you slowly to become the man of the universe. Man wanted the tools, wanted the toys, wanted the gimmick. We have given it to you. It's right in the center, right on the screen. You're a tramp. You have no food to eat. You manage to get on one or go into the enhancement unit. You are given everything. You're not a tramp anymore. You don't need to look into the bins if there is any scrap chicken, as you already been fed. You find your dignity, you find a dimension of new thinking. You receive in the processes not only the emotion of the physicality, but you see the elevation of the soul. This is what the whole technology is about. Nowadays, if you have tested it, if you put gas waters in the pot, you will see, put another gas water in another pot. The birds all love to. They come where the ganses are because they get that energy, what they were looking for. Would they go and kill another? No, because they're fulfilled. This is what it's about. We cannot get man to change. We change the man the way he wants to, with toys and gimmicks and other things. As I said before, once you go into the systems and you gradually and the frequent use of it, your body, your structure learns to take energy from the environment. Would you ever go back to eating because you eat one burger, you get all the feeling and emotion of it without actually killing it anymore, destroying another life in the shape of the bread bun or the lettuce or whatever it is. We just look at the burger as is the meat inside it, but the rest of it is alive too. The sauce, the bread, everything has life. We have destroyed them, or will destroy them, for us to have the pleasure of their energies. Now it goes back to the same thing. We feel it, we taste it. It's not that the little girl said, "Can I lick you? Do you taste like chocolate?" This is the problem with our future, that many of us will gradually change. What happened when you are a frequent traveler in these systems, or you pay a visit regularly to the enhancement units, or you decide to travel through the soul, instead of getting on a machine in a vertical system, everything you needed is there, and now lasts longer and longer, and the body does. What your body is going to do? Which organ is going to change? I don't receive anything as a waste. I don't receive anything as a water. Do I need the kidneys? Every energy I need exists within the dimension. Do I need a storage capacity on the liver? I see the beauty of the people with their souls, with their actions, with their emotion of their thoughts. Do I need an eye? Because don't forget, you can bump into the wall, but you forgot to remember that even the bricks of the wall and every dust in them has a soul. Don't come to us, you hurt yourself. Mankind will come to be changed. You are not aware of what we are about to do, but in a way, we are aware of what is about to happen. But in all these processes, it needs you to want to have that change. It needs you to allow the change to come through you. Thou shalt not steal, not even from the soul. You take from it as you allow it to be taken from. We can destroy all your cancers within seconds, but you need to have it because that gives you a confirmation of my suffering. But do you need to have it? Or by the elevation of the soul, we create a new condition of life. Would mankind become kind to himself and no one else, and then through it will find peace? I explained this very recently in another conversation. Many of you who start using the enhancement units in any shape or form, when you start using the travel enhancement units, inform your soul of what you want to be, not lie to yourself, and the soul knows that you don't want to be what you say you want to be. Thou shalt not lie, not even to himself. And understanding this is important for you as knowledge seekers to take that next step. We can build all the universities to teach you everything. When you do not allow your soul to be elevated because you live in a dimension of physicality, what is the use? We teach you everything from the dimension of every knowledge to get to position of the releasing, elevating the soul. But are you ready to let it go, to elevate yourself? No, because as a prison masters, you have learned to find an excuse to stop the elevation of the soul, because then it shows is you who has been the guilty party in the dimension of physicality. Now you decide which one. Mouth speaks different word than the action. And the action says totally different thing than what the soul wants. Any other question?
Mr. Keshe, may I ask one more?
Yes, you all become friend of Jalal. You all have 2 questions.
Was there ever a time in humanity's existence where we did allow our soul to feed us? Or was there something wrong from the get-go, or have we just adopted and made habit of relying on the physicality?
From the beginning, man could live. Man, as an energy source, could live without, by taking energy from the environment. We made it a habit when the soul was created, and the direction of the soul of man, soul of physicality, create that emotion. If you could link the 2 souls without time and space gap, in a way of dimension of the plasma, that you cut out the emotion, the universe would be a perfect picture. But the loss of the fields in transition creates that imbalance, creates that emotion, creates that fields that we call emotion, which man needs to keep it under control. The man needs to keep it in a distance. If you find in the structure of the man a position, in a positional dimension of the soul, where you can constantly keep a strength field distance gap between the soul of the man and soul of physicality in a way that it would not need anything for its survival, then you have achieved the ultimate goal. And if you learn how to reduce the field strength of one for the other one when it gets closer, that gap, that square box still exists. You can live in that dimension with the same emotion. This is the secret of the creation. Being aware of 2. And this is where the time has come, where the creation of Mitra, we always keep this, doesn't matter in what strength, where you're born. The space gap of the connection in the strength field in the box, as you call it, will be the same for all created things among the universe, which means all shall become one. We are not looking all to look like man, but we look like that the man, the being, the creature enjoys the position and dimension. It does not matter how it's created, and finds balance between the 2. You cannot have an atom if you don't have an electron, and you cannot have an atom if you don't have the proton. And then you could not have the 2 atoms if you don't have what we call the neutron in a structure that it feeds both by the dimension of absorbing from its environment. That dimension is still blind to the man. Up to now, we speak about the soul of the physicality and the soul of the man. The hydrogen is incomplete, totally incomplete, because at the end has to find energies from somewhere to keep this. The 3rd dimension, which is the essence of knowledge that man will come to understand, and in the future will explain, creates a perfect what we call atom, where there is always a source energy for both to tap into and keep this distance. The creation of a neutron in the structure of the atom. But this knowledge is beyond understanding of the man at this moment in time. You got to understand, you've got to realize that in the process of creation, how things will turn out to be, how everything shall be, how we tend to change things, the way how things will tend to exist in that dimension. Why perfection comes out of the addition of a third party.
So
That's another mystery for man, which we'll discuss in the future.
okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe.
You're welcome. Any other question?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, can you hear me?
Yes?
Good morning, Your Excellency. I have one question. I was tricked by the German intelligence agency. They gave me a liquid and recorded my brain 24/7. Is there a chance to change the frequency so that I get my own thinking privacy back again?
I don't know what you're talking about.
They tricked me with a liquid and they recorded my thoughts 24/7, all around the clock.
Why? Why you that they tricked you into it?
Well, they thought I was so important for them to get information out of my brain, which I hadn't at that time. So they gave me that liquid in a hospital here in Münster. And when I got that liquid, a woman, a voice of a woman behind a wall was talking to me. They made said a word, and I thought about that word, and we started a conversation. And I thought of the word, and she answered, and then in German we say, the Kind was in the Brunnen gefallen. So from that time on, they recorded my thoughts, and I went to a community in Ostbevern. It's about 20 kilometers from Münster, and in the first floor, there was a man who just was sitting there or living there just to record all my thoughts and obtaining all my doings. And when you send the I've identified flying object, I said nothing. I just saw it, and then he said in the above UFO, and hadn't seen it. So I'm just asking if there's a chance to change that frequency so that they cannot record my thoughts any longer.
I'm not aware of such a thing, and I cannot make any comment.
So they can record the thoughts as long as they want to, if they get near to my brain, about 50 meters, I guess, is the range. I have to get used to it, I think so.
I presume if that's the way of your thinking, must be.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
And one thing again, I guess I have an idea for the beam formation in combination to the star formation.
In what formation?
For the beam formation.
Beam?
The beam formation, just to beam the UFO or the flight formation.
Yeah.
To another planet in seconds.
I don't understand.
Well, with the flight formation makes 20 times of light speed. That is correct, I guess. Or is it faster?
I don't understand what you're trying to raise.
The flight unit you are presenting makes 20 times of light speed in maximum speed. Is that correct?
Doesn't matter. It can go at any speed.
There
is no limitation. There is no limitation in the speed of travel.
Okay.
If you can go deeper with a stronger field.
I see.
This is the beauty of the technology. You decide on a span of the depth of the plasma where to tap in. That gives you the energy. This is the essence of the flight, essence of the creation of gravity and magnetic field.
Because I saw a video of an UFO in Paris 2008, and there was a lift formation inside. It was a triangle lift formation, so three angles. In this middle, in the center, there was a star formation, and at the end there was just a white screen, and that was a beam to another planet. So
the white screen, if you see a flash of light and then movement, this majority of it is what we call space flight. I explained that in detail in the flight over Jerusalem.
I see.
But you do not beam in the speed of light. The creation of the light around the system is due to the rapid expansion of the field in the human strength to build up. And as the dynamic system, as the systems are dynamic, magnetic fields, their interaction with the atmospheric condition of the Earth creates that flash of light. We see a flash of light and then what we call motion. This is how you do. And this is very normal in atmospheric condition. And most of the flight system you see in space travels as a rapid light. This in changes of the pulse is very, very clear. I've seen it twice on the test, maybe 3 times in the test in China when we ran the test. Because I was looking for it, you see it within the structure where we could create plasmas within the ball, and creation of that plasma within the ball creates a massive interaction of the fields of the environment and the ganses.
I see.
It's a normal effect.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Any other question? Rick?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We've got, I thought we had another hand up here. Azhar, you had a hand up at one point. Did you want to speak? Go ahead if that's true.
Good morning, Rick. Then while I came to,
There's a problem with the microphone, I think, or something there. Could you say that again?
I said I had a question, but while I was waiting, the answer came to me, so I just don't have a question. Thank you.
Okay. Very good. There's several questions in the Q&A, Mr. Keshe. We have a question from Salamia, who's asking, we are all interconnected, but the science wants to prove this or not. This is the problem. Our ancestors just believe in our inseparability at energetic level, and they helped each other from a distance. Transfer of energy from one to another is the solution. How can we learn all of humanity of this truth? Thank you. Mithra could activate this information, emotion in the soul of man. Our common consciousness is this.
I don't understand what she's trying to tell us. I think that the whole thing is in the first 2 lines, if you read it. It
says we are all interconnected, but science wants to prove this or not. It wants to prove or disprove this, I guess. And she says this is the problem. Our ancestors believed in our inseparability at the energetic level, and they helped each other from a distance that way. And she's saying that is this transfer of energy from one person or being to another, is that the solution? And can all of humanity learn this truth? I think that's what she's asking here. And is Mithra
in a
part
way,
of
it's
that
always
process?
have been in a way mankind has. Do you want to change the screen? We see your face only, Rick.
Oh,
In a way, we always have had connection. As we come from and we go back to, we have connections with our parents, with our ancestors, and even the dimension where our soul is ahead of us. And we decided to be blind to it. We never allow it to grow. When we are younger, we have more of it. Because we are not aware of more physicality, we become knowledgeable in existence and we use it in a different way. But as we grow older, this changes. And we move more in the dimension of physicality, and we ignore the other side to the point that we don't accept anything. And today's scientific, most of the people who want to use the science as a way to control, they say, show me, then I believe it. And what I said, go and do it, then you believe it. I don't need to show to you nothing. In many of our conversations with many people, I always tell them, very simple. The question of show me to believe it is on your shoulder, not on mine. When they send you to an organization to decide, I said, how can they decide when they have no knowledge? I'm prepared to sit in front of a bunch of donkeys, dumb professors, which are the same as the donkeys, because they don't have any knowledge. Their knowledge about what we talk is the same as the donkeys. They hear the voices, and they sit there and they just kick because they haven't been given the food, which is there living in their own lives. This is the process of the creation. We have become more and more reliable on our physical dimension, and those who understand is the way to interrupt you and control you or dismiss you. They say, show me. It's not my time to show. It's for you to understand and show to yourself. We have connections with all our ancestors. We have connection to the, if you understood the teaching of today, we can even find a line of connection to the Creator. But we decide to ignore it. That's not our ancestors. Because when you put a magnet on the table, does not matter how many magnets are on the table, big or small, they all react. So you have a connection to the small one and the big one at the same time. It's you who's been put in the middle. You are created. So you have to find what is and where is your connection to the big one on the table. Then if your greatness to have his energy, you connect to him, and the others will provide you to reach there. And this is what mankind have not understood fully. Understanding the ease and accessibility to the Creator is easier than drinking a cup of water. But man chooses to ignore it, and he goes for the cup. When you put, Rick has a beautiful presentation, he's done it for years, all these magnets on the table. You choose different size and shape of magnets. When you introduce a new magnet on the board, everybody moves to find a new position. So when you create a new soul, you already have made connection to every single atom on this planet. I was explaining this recently too in a conversation. The problem with most of you is you have not accepted that you stand vertical. Why? In the world of physics, you should be on the floor. What holds you up except magnetic gravitational positioning between every cell and knowing their position? You will not be able to take a foot off the ground to do the running or jumping if the whole mechanism of the soul, of the physicality, has not adjusted itself to magnetically move the body. Even you call it as a mechanical work. You try to get the mechanical work to run, which is no matter state, but it's a bunch of energies on top of each other. Once you understand this, then heart of things, even absorption of the energy and fields, feeding yourself, all changes. Any other question?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Keshe. We've got a couple more hands up here. We have Mehran and Stefania.
Today's the day of women, is it?
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Keshe. Hello, Rich. Hello, all the team. Thank you very much for your relentless devotion. And I wish you all the best and all people who work in this way. I have, if you permit, two questions. First is the story of Popol Vuh in America. There is a nation, there is a legend about the Popol Vuh people, tribes in America, South America. And sometime in the history, they had a catastrophe. So they go under the earth through the ways under the earth. They come up to the hill, and then they were maybe praying. On the top of the hill, all of a sudden, they could not talk to each other. Even though they knew they are sisters and brothers, they couldn't talk to each other. How do you explain this?
I don't know. Legends can be anything the man makes it to be.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Thank you very much. Second question is, you always say you should not kill, and we are trying to learn it. And the second, how do we deal with women who do abortions without knowing that it's a child in early time before 2 months? How can they by their action of abortion towards the soul, which they have medically exterminated? How could they do to?
It comes by the position of responsibility and being able to carry. It comes with the capability of understanding I can bring to develop to full maturity without harming myself or the child. We see abortion nowadays as a tool of just pleasure, which goes to the next step. But in essence, the soul will live in a new dimension. But is not allowing it, is understanding the process, that what it means, which life will be in danger, the mother or the child. On the other hand, using the abortion for what we call it birth control is not acceptable. But when it comes to a point when you see the mother will be in danger if the cycle goes through, has to take priority the life of the mother. It's a mature soul. And that's we call it postnatal depressions. We see many mothers kill their children or themselves. And when you see that point, that's the time when you're in an accident, when the life of the child can endanger or the mother, then that's a different position. But abortion, the way man does as part of the pleasure, is not acceptable. It's a priority of soul, priority of life. And this is the only purpose, the only reason. We see many mothers. We just seen very recently when the mother calls that take the child, I'll throw her out of the window or I jump. Because we see this change in the structure of the status of mind or hormones create that condition. That's the only condition which you can. Nothing else. If it's a birth control, and then they have to sort that out between the souls.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we've got Stefania next here. Would you like to go ahead?
Yes.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good evening, everyone. And Mr. Keshe. I got question from Giancarlo. He's an Italian seeker, and he raises his hands and he want to make a question. So I'm going to let him speak. 1 second. Giancarlo, ci sei?
Sì.
Ok, allora aspetta un attimo così vediamo se ti sente. Ok, vai con la domanda.
In italiano?
Sì, falla prima in italiano. Tu sai parlare l'inglese?
No.
No, vai in italiano, però dammi spazio per tradurre, tipo fai una frase breve e poi tradurre.
Ho sentito quella frase di Maria col bambino, che Maria è l'anima che deve collegarsi dall'anima fisica per far nascere il bambino spirituale. Volevo sapere se questo simbolo
We lost the Italians.
No, it's still here.
Mi segui?
No, ti ho già perso. Fai piano, fai più, come si può dire, frasi brevi. E Daniela, puoi abbassare il volume, quello di Mr. Keshe? Abbassa il volume, sennò mi viene l'eco.
Allora, ripeto.
Aspetta, fai abbassare, vai.
Keshe ha detto che Maria era l'anima che cerca di far nascere l'anima fisica.
Ok, aspetta. Mr. Keshe, he said that you said, this is what he understood, that the Virgin Mary is the soul who gives birth to the physical soul. This is what he understood. So tu stai dicendo che la Maria dà nascita all'anima fisica, tu hai capito, no?
No. La nuova anima, quella rinascita nuova di cui ha parlato.
That the Virgin Mary will give the birth to this new, sorry, I made a mistake, that the Virgin Mary give a birth to this new soul, this new soul. Mm-hmm.
Ti volevo chiedere se corrisponde all'antimateria in quel schema che ha fatto e all'anima cosmica come simbolo, capito?
He wants to know if he's referring to the drawing that you made of the antimatter with con l'antimateria e
all'anima vessal cosmica, anima cosmica, energia cosmica,
antimatter and the cosmic energy.
Perché ha parlato della grande madre.
Because you spoke about the bigger mom, the bigger mother. Can you hear me? Mr. Keshe, can you hear me? Rick, mi sentite?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Yes.
Ok. Rick mi sente, però Mr. Keshe non sta rispondendo. Allora,
maybe you want to try rephrasing the question.
Exactly.
So it's one question.
This is what I was thinking. Allora, Giancarlo, giusto per ripetere, no? Tu vuoi sapere se me lo ridici ancora che rifaccio la domanda fatta bene, scusami.
Forse io che mi sono spiegato male, però siccome lui ha parlato di Maria, simbolo dell'anima.
Ok, passo per passo.
Ora volevo sapere se è anche in corrispondenza la grande madre o l'antimateria.
Okay. He just saying that because he talked about the Virgin Mary as a symbol, he wanted to know if as a symbol has the antimatter, if it's a symbol referring to antimatter.
When it's a symbol, you can make it anything. This is the totality.
Ha detto che la totalità. Hai sentito cosa ha detto? Ha detto che. Ok.
Well, they say it depends.
Mr. Keshe, can you say it again?
I said depends on.
One second.
Can you hear me?
Say it again now. He will hear you now. Yeah.
Yeah. Depends. The whole understanding of virgin birth is not a physical condition, not the way the man thinks. It comes by the word of purity, means detached from, clear of everything.
One second.
What you call a pure soul.
Hai capito, Giancarlo? Praticamente sta dicendo che sorry, Mr. Keshe, could you repeat one more time? There was the ground noise and I couldn't grasp.
I said the virgin birth is not in a physical dimension as a man thinks. Virgin means purity, detached from everything. Being what we call a true, what we call condition that physicality doesn't come into it.
Ha detto che la Vergine Maria è proprio, come si può dire, quella forza dove tu ti devi staccare da tutto, è quel simbolo di
You got to go back to the history of virgin birth. Virgin birth doesn't come from Christ. Virgin birth comes from Mitra, born from the Virgin Mother. And that, how could they say Mitra is created from the soul of the Creator, from the dimension of the Creator? So they put virginity in it. And then when the Catholicism was made by the Romans, and the Christianity started, and they put the whole thing around it, they brought that virgin birth. How could they explain to man that you're not talking about Mary to be virgin, you're talking about the Son of Christ, the Son of God. You're talking about creation of the Creator. It's pure because it comes from the source. So is virgin. It's in a way untainted. And especially in Christianity, they have brought that and they made it to a woman, and then in that woman become the process of the birth, and then there was a woman who gave birth in there. Whatever, and the rest has to be built to bring that in to make it reality. Virgin birth is when the Creator created the soul of Mitra. We say now he took a rib of him. He took a strength which was the closest to him and allowed it to become separated, to become what we call Mitra. And that, to make it a stick, has been changed and turned to everything else, because Christianity of what you have as a virgin birth comes from Zoroaster, comes from birth of Mitra. And we don't have the physical dimension, the physicality or purity of Mitra being born from a virgin mother, which even in that mysticism could not be said that is from the soul of the Creator, from the inner sanctum of the existence of the Creator. In the past, we have explained that even the Creator has a soul, let alone that. This is why every creature has a soul. I made man in the image of myself. How can a man have a soul when the Creator doesn't have a soul? The center, the collection of the fields of it, the interaction of all the fields of the unicos creates the dimension and strength of the soul of the Creator. So when you hear this rigma with virgin birth, go back. It's a Chinese whisper, but with its own twist. The Christianity has come from the Chinese whisper of the Mitra, added to the virginity and the rest of it. Because it suited the Romans and it suited the Christians. Half of them were Zoroastrians or Mitraism, and half of them were Christians. But those who had more power, because they were a seat of the power they could kill, they put their part as a Mitra into their writing. He is not questioning the physical virginity of Mary. It's questioning the reality of the facts of the what we call Chinese whisper, which is if we make it this way, then we give it the mysticism. Even in the background of the work of Mitra and in Mitraism, no one has ever explained that virgin birth comes from the purity of the soul of the Creator. Virgin in the essence of pure, not a physical, no interaction. Because the soul of the Creator works with the soul of Mitra, not with the dimension of physicality of the Mitra. So then you have to answer how all this has been written, and we have come, they made us to believe in certain ways and do us to it. Any other question? If as knowledge seekers, you could understand what I have given you as a gift from Creator in this machine in front of you on this, you would have all given your life up. Any other question?
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. There's a couple of questions in the YouTube. One from Paulo. Paulo asks, it is wonderful to know how all things are created in the essence of the Creator. However, before materialization, there is the design of form and function. Where in space is the design center?
We don't design, we accept what manifests out of the interaction. Sorry, the only thing is God forgot to open the design center in the process of His creation. When we have address, we'll send it to you.
So, could you say that maybe in a different way? Where, I mean, it's an interesting question. Where does it come from? For example, where did this design that we're looking, this beautiful, when was it first conceived? And did it or did it appear from, as you say, the interaction of the forces at that time?
This design of this unit goes back over 40, 50 years ago. The design of this unit, if you look at it, is in 1970s, mid-70s, where the MRI came out. We saw partial interaction, but then you had the X-rays and gamma rays. The condition and the way this system was designed is accumulation of years of work. And there was no system to build this. There was not enough knowledge to build such a thing. It doesn't matter what we built. System with the interaction in this way was not available till a few years ago when we started seeing it in China coming up in different, applications in health and the banking and all sorts. And this allowed this version to come out. The future version of this system will be very, very amazing. We already know how it's going to shape, and that will bring a new dimension with the capability to carry hundreds, millions of people. This is a taste. We had two choices. Bring the knowledge to common man that everybody can have it and then build on it, or build such a huge thing that we get entangled for years with the governments. The best escape route for all humanity to have was this shape. Manageable, positionable, and everything else. And this system can take you into the depth of the universe and come back. If you know how to use the system, you can cross universes. It's not the physical feature of it. It's the fields which we have created within this structure to bring the balance. If you look at it, you look at the body, we look at the fields, how these fields will create a balanced position that you have a new position. We have deliberately suppressed the fields to maintain a flat position. We have deliberately positioned reactors to create the curvature. We use the curvature to put it in, but once the system becomes what we call in a flight mode, this physicality is irrelevant. It's not the physicality which transports you, it's the fields which keep the shape because of their positioning. It's very much like life of the man. We create a physical man and then we give it the fields of the soul. We've done the same thing. We created a body which is always stays the same. You always have a Chinese man wherever you go, and then we change the soul to get different Chinese men. We can create very much at the moment. If you look, you sit on a platform like this. In the future, we change the platform like this. What this means is that we can expand the base. Again, we use that expansion with the units. When we tested these units, fields, we didn't have the physicality of the sphere. We put the reactors in the lab on the floor in different positions. We created the fields. We didn't, if we would have strengthened our fields, we would have never needed the physicality. We can change the position as long as we keep the balance of the fields in the dimension of the what we call application. I'm trying to clean up There's nothing in the background. We can change the shape of this space to this, increase the numbers. But then we have to change the dimension, the strength of the reactors. If you look at this and turn it 90 degrees up, you have, as I said before, the vertical system. Here, the man is in the center. Here, the man is in the center. Any other question?
Okay, we have a hand up from Kay here as well. Would you like to go ahead, Kay? Hello, Kay. We're not quite hearing you yet. I see your microphone is open, but we can't hear your voice.
Can you hear me?
Yes, there we go. Thanks.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, God bless. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. Good morning to all the knowledge seekers. Thank you very much for another mind-boggling teaching. I've had a couple of questions. The past two teachings you have mentioned and you have stated that we could go into the transportation part and can you hear me?
Headphone. Yes, I can hear you, but I lost my headphone. Can you repeat, please?
Sorry. Yes, the last couple of lessons you've stated and you've mentioned that we could go inside the transportation pod and most probably we will never lift the teleportation. Specifically in teleportation pod, we could go inside there and perhaps we would never travel anywhere. And when you open the door, we're still standing there. So you mentioned that our soul may not allow us, and then it may not be ready to take that shift. Now, my question was,
are you afraid of it, that it might do that to you?
Perhaps. My question was, I would love to travel. I would like to give it a try, definitely, when I can afford it. But my question was, what if we were to put a goat or perhaps a vegetation such as, say, a watermelon or something, or even a rock? What would happen to that? Would they teleport as well? Or would they sort of say that we are not ready? Because at the end of the day, the vegetation, in particular the animals, either they're grazing animal or they're carnivore meat-eating animals, they are doing what humans are doing. They for sustenance, they devour and they kill. What about them? Would they transport from that teleportation mission?
It's the same with it. You are looking at the man, you're looking at the soul of the being. If you bring another creature from the universe and he does wrong on this planet, yes?
Yeah.
Then can he live without the souls are balanced? You understand?
Yes.
And it goes back to the same thing again, the beauty of the creation, the understanding of the creation, the understanding of the totality of the creation is not exclusivity of man. That's all it is. It is not exclusive to man. As long as man has that habit, as we call it in Farsi, Ashraf al-Makhluqat, the king of the animals, we always have that thinking. The atom has a soul. If you have a key in your pocket when you go in the machine, when you land on planet Zeus, you still have that, the soul of that key. You say, what have I brought with me here? If you have no memory of being on Earth, let's say, and the way you become Alzheimer's, and then you lose it, you find something in your pocket, would it be the shape of the key? Just because here it was in the state of a matter state doesn't mean there is the same. Maybe it appears as a little mouse in your pocket, or a shape of a moving thing that you consider to be a mouse. This is how mankind has to move on, has to add to its knowledge, has to become part of that, the structure of understanding.
I wish we will get there as soon as possible. God knows how keen and extremely willing it is for me to be in a position where I can travel either teleportation or travel through the spaceship unit that you have introduced. And with grace of God, we, especially the knowledge seekers and the others, will follow and gain the necessary information or knowledge to be in that position. And thank you very much for teaching us relentlessly to get to that position. I had one more question, if I could. You continuously mention in your teachings about humans have not managed, or they have ignored, the Creator's power, and we are not connected with it, and we carry on behaving the way we do and too much involved into the realm of physicality. But my question is, humans, they have no choice. Something such as emotion that we have we've had no control, or nobody told us how to control it, has blocked us in order to do the good things, to stand by the ethos of the Creator. Why do we have shortcomings as a human, and why are we being the culprit if we don't know it to begin with? I understand that we shouldn't kill, I understand we shouldn't, lie and steal and so forth. Yeah, so that is being a pure human. If your morale is intact, you do those things anyhow. But in terms of not eating and having access to the universal knowledge or access to the Creator, which is our own soul, which has created us, we thanks to you, you have introduced it to us, and we are aware and trying to get to that level. Why humans are being held responsible for not having that knowledge to begin with, because it's been taken away from us, always been blocked by our emotion. Why did our Creator, in this case, which I understood is the Sun, has brought about a dimension like this, so that humans are where they are and they're being held responsible for not being like the rest of the universal community? I just wanted to see how deep human is responsible for their action, without knowing even that such a thing exists at first place. Sorry.
Now your second question goes too far. Let's break it one by one and see what we say.
What I'm trying to actually say, so I stretched a little bit.
Yeah.
Why is human being
that we broke the string? Start again.
Okay. Why, in the simplest term, why humans are being held as culprits if we did not have access to our knowledge in the first place?
We always had access to all the knowledge. We never been denied it. It's the way our ancestors chose to go. The knowledge of their flight, the knowledge of the enhancement, the knowledge of the movement without physicality, the knowledge of absorbing energy from the environment without killing. All we had it from time one. We decided, no, we don't want to use it. And some of you or some of us do what we need when it needs to be done and become magician. But here's the reality. We had this guru with us years ago. When I open his hand, how he feeds himself, we can teach all of you. Every single one of you can become the guru for months and months. You don't need the water. You are the water. And I've said this many, many times, and somehow we can't get through this to many knowledge seekers, to most of the knowledge seekers. We produce field replication units. And then we have the taste of the orange or whatever in it. What is in here? Just a salt water. You put a man and his physicality. What is constituents of his man? Just salt water with systems you can take energy from it. If all we do, we put enough of these field replication around us and we go in it, then what happens? You taste orange. But you have to have the level essence of, I like the taste of orange that I want to receive it. What happens if I bring you a sheep and put it next to the replication unit? The orange didn't speak, but this time the sheep goes meow. Would you do the same bow as well? Because you take all the emotion. Would you feel that you had a nice kebab when the sheep is standing there without eating the sheep? Do we need one single orange for all of us on this planet to have the taste of? And one sheep that we all have the kebab or whatever we like to have from. But would this to be able to connect to the universal energy that it can feed from it and produce continuously the fields that we need to create that taste and emotion? This is what we chose. Now we are bringing the option back on the table, but showing the advantage of it or the benefit of it, or what we call the sidekicks of it. Humanity needs to move on very rapidly. Humanity needs to be on it very rapidly if you're there to catch up.
So, Mr. Keshe, in a sense, or in a way, our ancestors has put us to where we are with no choice of our own. Really. Well, they knew the knowledge and they took it away from us. They did not ever allow us to have a choice. Because obviously, I never knew nothing about it, and billions of others like me never knew about this, such a thing that we have got access to our soul. So we could have access to our soul, where the soul carries the universal knowledge. Our ancestors, our forefathers knew about it, and as time gone by, bits by bits, they just dished it until they totally forgotten it. But so it goes back again. So we, the present generation, forget about a couple of generations, 3 or 4, 5 generations back, at this present generation, we don't understand, or we never even thought or contemplated or understood that there's such a thing that we got a soul where it's our creator and has got the essence of totality, has got knowledge of universal knowledge, and you could do everything that one could ever imagine. But at the end of the day, we, in today's present time, we never knew, we were shunned of such a knowledge, of such power, and of such a creation, power of creation. So we are at the end of the day being held culprit in today's generation, at least, for what our forefather has done to us in the past. But we're still being we're still getting punished. So tomorrow when I go into the teleportation machine, my physicality may just stay there and doesn't even move an inch, only because I didn't understood that, or I didn't have any access to such a knowledge because of my forefathers has decided to stop it. Is that?
Could I say something?
Yeah.
In my opinion, this knowledge has been there and it's been available always. It's just only available to those who really need it at the point of need. And most of humanity doesn't need it because they're so busy in their lives. But I ran into this knowledge 40 years ago. And I know it's been around for 40 times 40 years before that. So where were you during that 40 years? Where was your attention? What have you done, and why didn't you run into that knowledge? Or why hasn't humanity run into that knowledge? Because most of us are busy, or too busy in our lives to pay attention to it. But now some of us have been forced into it in the circumstances of today's life. And maybe it's just time. It's the time for Mithra to be present on this planet. And that resonates in the soul of every single human being. And besides on other places in the universe. So I think it's always been there. And we're fortunate that Mr. Keshe be the current interpretation of what this is, and it's getting out, the message is getting out to the masses instead of just a small group. That's usually the case. Small groups here and there might have retained the knowledge, and it may be fragmented as well because it's not always interpreted and presented clearly. But it's always been there. I think that's my opinion. What do you say, Mr. Keshe?
It's not been there 40 times 40. It's been there from the time of the creator. It's just we chose which part fits us. Depends which part of the information. Would you like to change your screen, please? Depends on how we decide to accept the facts of what you call the reality. How we push with the limitations and dimensions of going deeper to understand how we cannot live within the field, but we don't need collection of fields. The knowledge has been accessible from time of Moses and Jesus and the rest. And sometimes they showed part of it and they became and mankind treated them like magicians. In the future, in the very near future, much nearer than many of you can imagine, mankind will bring bodies to these systems to see if they can revive their souls, that through it they can revive their physicality. They will attempt it. But then it depends if that physicality has already taken shape to go, has lost the parameters of holding to the soul. The way we see now, the air ambulance people from one country to another, they will air ambulance people to the nearest machine that they can put in there to see if they can get the brain, which is an accident, or whatever, the bullet which has caused the damage to kill. They keep the machines going mechanically with the heart operation of the machine, of the body, and then put them in these machines, trying to revive them back in dimension of life. Don't be fooled with the simplicity of this. Man will make a magic machine out of these machines in the coming time. But the soul has to be there to accept it, to accept the change. Maybe once they go to a new dimension, they don't want to come back in dimension. It doesn't matter what you put them in the machine for. Death by accident become a very, very rare thing. Because we'll have solution for everything, even accident. If you can get to the machine to do it, you do it. Christ didn't have an enhancement unit on the floor. He gave from his soul. And the soul of the man raises the soul of physicality, and the soul of physicality raises the body of the man. And I said this many times. Haven't we done this in the case of Naomi? Haven't we done this case of other cases of the Keshe Foundation? Because now we have the knowledge. But the man should be one to receive it, and you do it. I gave you the example of the blind girl. Took a few seconds. She said, I can see, but I don't want the sight.
Mr. Keshe, sorry. Thank you ever so much for your beautiful explanation. As always, you delve into more than is needed. God bless you. Just, if I may, one more last little question. When physicality, the man dies, the physicality dies, if I understood correctly, the soul of the man, the creator, will take all the energy that it has accumulated from the physicality and goes to another dimension. My question is, what happens to the soul of the physicality? What happens to that soul?
Soul of physicality, in a way, transfers its energy to the soul of the man. It's like goes, now the soul of the man becomes a physical dimension, and the soul of physicality sits inside it. It's the reverse of before. It's the physicality in a dimension of strength of the position of the magnetic field of the earth, which stays behind. But the soul of physicality, which made the body of the man to hold on, to be in touch and interaction with the soul of the man, comes collectively to become now within the structure. Let me explain to you this, because I know this has been a lot of question for many knowledge seekers. If you have the body of the man, and then you have the physicality of the man, yeah, Every cell has a soul. And then you have the soul of the man. Every single soul is in touch and position-wise with the soul of the man. And what is left over above that is what we see as a gans of the physicality, which makes the cell body of the man. At the point of death, all these fragments will become, in a way, up to now the body of the man had the position. Now the game reverses. These become within the soul of the man. And what is left in the matter state field with the interaction of the Earth gravitational matter state stays behind as a physical body of the man. In a way, up to now, physicality of the man encapsulated the soul. In the position of the death, the soul of the man encapsulates to protect the soul of every cell of the man. In a way, it becomes a solar system where all these souls are like Earth and other planet, finding position in it. And in time and position, those which have the strength of collective and the strength become part of the soul itself. And in the position and dimension of the new position man arrives to, the soul will still can stay as a soul with the soul of the dimension of physicality within it. And then it depends what it needs to manifest itself in the shape of in the new position. There is still the soul of a point in the kidney of the man which knew how to dispose of energies not needed in the shape and form. That knowledge still sits between the soul and that soul. What we leave behind is what is in interaction of the fields with the interaction of fields of the earth as a matter state becomes left over. That is why if the body burns in the fire, we don't get, because the physicality has taken a different shape in the strength, but the soul is still there. And if you understand this, in the long term, you should be able to give an answer. Why, when we have an amputation, what happens to the soul of the part which is left us? Has all of it is still sitting in bed, and that's why the body tries to feed it through the soul connection and through the neural system to feed it, and it's not there, and we get phantom pains. Our neural system and our blood system is not the only connection to the soul, every soul. Our soul has a direct line to the soul too, because they're magnetic field centers. Any other question?
Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, very good, Mr. Keshe. We've got a couple more hands up here. Mashfek, would you like to go ahead next?
Sorry, mine was a mistake. Sorry.
Okay, and Ed, I think you've got your hand up again, or?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Keshe, this is Ed from Indiana again. The question I have just occurred when you were talking to Kay, or just you were just explaining how at death the souls of the cells transfer their soul's energy back to the soul, into the soul existence. They carry what they have done with them. What is the case when they have done incorrectly, when they have done what I want to say wrong, but maybe that's not the right word? They have collected an incorrectness because of their action, doing wrong, talking wrong, thinking wrong. That energy, what happens to it? Does it just get dissipated or refigured or transformed or used somehow?
What do you mean?
Well, I know we carry our experiences and our learning with us, not in the I mean, what you were just talking about, all that we leave behind is just the physical interaction with the environment, what has been created, but the learning, the wisdom, the knowledge we carry with us. But what about the case where we have done wrong? Has that
It's
also
still part of the knowledge. It's a part of knowledge which is open to you. And you know, there are very, very different ways of looking at it. And that is, sometimes we do something without knowing goes wrong, which our soul is not aware of it. Sometimes we deliberately go out and do wrong with a full knowledge, or we do something which turns out wrong and we know about it, we don't do anything to put it right. And this is what what is important is how to correct what is wrong. And this is why I always say, always ask. Because what is done by the others, when you ask what decision is made by them, and you have received the answer, you make your decision on those bases. What goes starts from that point. What is wrong is for them, not for you. And this is part of understanding this process. This is part of understanding this change. And I've gone through this quite a few times in the past. You make a mistake, you're not aware of it. When you go in the system, does it affect you? No. If you made a mistake and you know you're aware of it and you don't put it right, then is it your position to go in? And would it be done, or have you put it right? Or you do wrong and you think you can get on. That's why I said none of the world leaders will ever be able to. You want to travel from A to Z, get on board of somebody who's been in a position of power over 2 years. You fly at your own risk. If you heard me before, I said being a world leader would be a very lonely job. Anyway, we'll see how mankind will do and how mankind will learn from this process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Rick, you have some of the beautiful pictures I've never seen from the enhancement units. It is for us to decide the future of us, not others what they've done. We will go through a process of understanding for ourselves, we go through a process of understanding for the others. But in overall, we have to be able to understand our own position. When you ask and you are given, you've done no wrong. When you take and you don't ask, then you have to stand for it. Maybe what you've taken without knowing, without asking, has brought a position of relief for someone. Then that stands on its own. Any other question?
Yes, Mr. Keshe, we've got another question in YouTube, this time from Diane from Ghana. It says, greetings and blessings to all souls from Seekers of Ghana. I wonder how to receive and give enough fields to get into the center of our being and stay in a state of non-tangible equality with soul.
Very easy. Understand your own strengths and your weaknesses and understand which one you need to move to reach that point. It's one of the easiest things to do. When you're strong, give. When you're weak, try to take what you need and no more. And then you'll find out you have found the balance.
Okay, very good. Thank you. In the live stream from Freed is a question. It kind of relates to a previous question, but we'll try it here. The powers that be try to get a grip of more and more parts of the physical life at this moment. Why are they allowed to do this? Or is this bringing new possibilities for us?
What are the powers to be? We allow them to become the powers. That's all. We allow them to become power. What are the powers?
From Antonio in the Q&A, who says, good morning, Mr. Keshe. Is it correct to say that we are not so evolved on this planet compared to other planets, but the quality of love is a quality of our planet and is very special, for it is embodied physically? Or is love a quality that all planets have? Antonio.
We are not behind and we are not ahead. We are in the cycle of our evolution. Many races never took to the physicality, and many races took only dimension of physicality like man. But in that process, either one had to progress to know where to connect and how to be and how to create and the rest of it. Just because you don't have dimension of physicality doesn't mean that you don't have dimension of emotion. Emotion is a common denominator across all created things, even stone. And in so many ways, emotion is part of the confirmation of the existence of the both soul of physicality and the soul of You can't have a reaction unless you find something to react to. You can't see a plane flying and you send the radar out unless it hits and it comes back to confirm its existence, and it gets another one to confirm or make a communication with. This is part of the life of the man. The knowledge has always been there. It's the man who has chosen to go the wrong way or to use the part which is suited. Any other question?
Other question in the Q&A, Mr. Keshe, from Drag Blavatsky. Hi, Mr. Keshe. It's Draghi from Macedonia, private knowledge seeker. I would like to ask you a question. After when I made the Cup of Life 1 and 2, I felt like my soul was traveling. I've had many interesting experiences and would like to share one with you. I've been to one place where there were hills. In one of the hills, I went inside and there was a book library. Should I believe what I saw? Is there a library or not? I really believe I was traveling with my soul and it was not a dream. Thank you.
The reality is that as we enhance as we use the ganses and we enhance our body and our soul with it, we will come to understand that we have new capabilities. A new dimension of life opens to us. And in what we are receptive to, in what is strength and dimension, then it gives us manifestation of realities, or being able to see, or being able to travel. And it's not something new.
Antonio says, Mr. Keshe, is it that we are looking through colored glasses and cannot see clearly, and as we evolve, the fog becomes clearer?
I think it depends on which side of the glass you look at, but in general, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Depends on how we will negotiate with ourselves, how we try to understand the possibilities of the interaction, and to what extent we will accept this. Many of you will experience beautiful times in these enhancement units. But in the first few minutes, you will receive, you settle, and then you will not feel that again, because the correction is done. Then it's left the dimension of the physicality to sort itself out. And many of you will feel this. You feel this beyond imagination of the man.
Okay, thank you. Let me see, there's a couple of other questions here. If you can handle some more, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, can you handle it? Yes, I hope.
From Farzam in our chat here, he says, thank you, Rick and Mr. Keshe. Can a Keshe absorbing field butterfly be used in clothing or in a jacket to help to absorb energy when needed?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
One of the things you can do with what do you call the butterflies, they're in a sealed vacuum pack, or they're supposed to be, I hope. If they're not punctured or they're not touched, you can put these what do you call butterflies into a glass of water, or put 2 of them in a glass of water. use one bigger one smaller one. Put them on either side of a glass. And then try to see the condition, the emotion, or whatever that you might want to see or you might feel in that cup. Because of the changes in the transportation of the fields from one butterfly to the other, you create a condition of absorbing emotions and fields and strengths and what we call dimensions into the cup. The butterfly is put in there, now you use, has many applications. Many applications. If you have a, what you call, emotional condition, put a butterfly on either side of your head, see how you feel. They are totally field replication. There's no matter state with it. But you have to understand how you use it and the way you use it. If you use the butterflies the correct way, you can even warm your body in the winter. Any other question?
Yes, we have a question that's in a foreign language. Just trying to see, it's Portuguese. And from Maria in the Q&A here in our Zoom chat. And she asks according to my English translation in Google, why do we live to 100 years old if our body is so fragile?
It's you who decided. There are people who are 100, you don't recognize them, they're 100. I would like to make a request from the Universal Council. We know that Universal Council is arranging to meet for the first time as a full council sometime in the near future. They have to announce it. Please, when you do so, make sure you give enough time to those who want to be with the council to add to your work for the time and the place. And secondly, please make sure that all organization is in your hand and not to the people logistically and what we call Men's Center. Those of you in the Universal Council who are planning for such a meeting for the first time ever, Universal Council members will meet. Try to understand you bring a new soul and dimension. You will meet on the appropriate time. The time and the place you have chosen is perfect for what is to come. But you have to understand that you meet as the heads of the humanity. And come to what you call your meeting with the emotion and with understanding that is there for your meeting to bring the change in. And for sure, the soul of Mitra will be with you, as your decisions will bring changes for the humanity. I hope the mankind will come to understand this. I have another request from the Universal Council. As I don't attend your meetings, that's yours, and we never interfere. Bring to your work the success, rapid success in Vienna talks between 5+1. As that will bring a new dimension to the whole of humanity. And in so many ways, mankind is ready for a change, but mankind has to make that move to bring that change. And that move needs to be done in Vienna. The way you wished for peace and achieved it, we would like to have your wishes for the end of conflict across this planet, which a 5+1 will bring it into a new dimension. We have made a request to make it 5+2. And the 2 is not just the condition of the end of physical atrocity of one on the others, which is the Palestinian Israelis, but the 2 is the symbolic of everything else that the man in the position of power and knowledge has done. In so many ways, the 2 becomes the children who will be used. The 5+1 has to address it as the world leaders. Those who are involved in the drug trafficking, 5+1 has to find a solution with it. And I explained to you in many ways why it is. And the support of the Universal Council to be present is needed to receive the sort of the elevation of the position. Is not just trying to change sanctions on one nation or another. As I said to the Iranian leadership and to many people around us, it's the first time ever a nation has been sanctioned and its people have been put on the shortage of everything because of their knowledge. It's the first time we have seen the rest of the humanity has risen against a nation because they have access to a massive knowledge and they have gone forward very fast. And sanctions against knowledge is what we call the 5+1. Where we change it, knowledge in exchange for peace become the motive and the motion of the 5+2. We would like in the negotiations not only the condition of the sanction on a knowledgeable nation through his knowledge, but the sanction on totality of those who deal openly in harming the others to be sorted to. One of the biggest questions which sits in 5+1 is not the position of Iran, why they're so advanced and they're advancing so much, and how we can stop them has to be. It has to be how can we join them to learn more with you and with our knowledge to speed faster, to access more. And this is what is the job of the Universal Council, to enlighten, to elevate the soul of the negotiators to, with it, to become mature to understand. One of the main positions which we'll see has to be taken is sanctions has to be on the nations who are involved in child trafficking. Children are the future of the man. And how come we sanction the nations for knowledge, but we don't sanction those who destroy the life of the soul of the youngsters? There is and there will be requests in all positions for, now that we have reached peace, to find a new way to handle atrocities of man on each other. Palestine, children, hunger, and peace. And this has to take priority, because once we learn this, we learn, now we become mature enough to become part of the universal community. The sanctions has to be on the nations who are recognized by United Nations to be abusive. those individuals who are involved in massive works to harm the others, especially the children. There has to be not talk, but the reality. One of these talks will be open very directly in one way or another. We cannot reach peace if we don't find out that we have to forgive and forget for those who created animosity and atrocities. And then to feed it. So my wish, my request from the Universal Council is to elevate the members of the negotiating team on all sides, that they put away their dogmas and be there to create a new condition. What I've said to the Iranian leadership is very simple. We are the only nation who has been sanctioned for knowledge and technology, and then is formed in other shapes and forms. 80 million people suffer because their scientists are too advanced, and the others have no access to the knowledge. And as I said before, we open the doors of Iranian nuclear technology as is obsolete to us. We don't need it. But we still research because we need to understand the mysteries of the creation. And this process will carry on the same. This process has to carry on the same. We see different ways of approaching the present problems, but the 5+1 will be used to, in a way, open the eye of the man to many realities. Sanctions against knowledge, where we give knowledge in exchange for peace from the same nation which is sanctioned. We have to stop what has been some 40 years of imprisoning millions of people in Gaza strips and in the West Bank. We have to bring peace between all the nations through our knowledge and technology. What's the use bringing peace when our children suffer? And nations like Belgium traffic children heavily, and we put the center of European, what we call organization, in Brussels. I put a question to one of the diplomats very recently. Are all the members of the European Council going there because of the reputation of the Belgian state? Why Germany and France and England put sanctions on Iran, but they do not put sanctions on the nation which the United Nations confirmed to be the center of the child trafficking? The European nation has to ask its members, are we sending our members to Brussels as they are part of the same game? Or if they are, why don't they stand up? We have a replacement in Strasbourg. We can move. These are the questions which needs to be answered in the coming time. And these are the questions and the elevation the Universal Council has to bring to the soul of the members of the 5+1. And with understanding this, we need to bring the change. Protection of our future generations as are born in both dimensions of the soul and physicality should not be jeopardized by those who are the centers of their abuse. Football coaches in Switzerland abusing children, the same the priest did in Austria 2005, allowed to be going on. We cannot allow what we call the states which are involved heavily in trafficking humanity across the borders. The question for us to solve in the next few months is by introducing what we call the flight system, that we do not allow these systems to be used for these kind of trafficking. We need in 5+1 to negotiate a new understanding of the border control, or accepting the totality that we bear the responsibility of totality of mankind. 5 minutes, 10 minutes from Johannesburg to London or to Paris or to wherever else should not become a tool of what I call child trafficking. We have to sort these at source, and that we have introduced the technology and the guidance and the support of the Universal Council is sacrosanct. The responsibility sits within the soul of the Universal Council and the support. We start the negotiations sometime in the next 3 weeks in Vienna. But it has to become, in a way, 5+ peace. Not only for arms, but for our children who have been abused heavily by the traffickers. And they see it as their right. You need to bring sanity to insanity and what I call mind of those who allow one and to sanction the others for the knowledge. I wish the Universal Council had understood our wishes, and we wish from this word from the mouth of the Creator is for those who understand to put in action that elevates the soul of the man. Thank you very much for the teaching of today, and we hope we meet each other next week. Thank you very much for your support and hard work. We can't hear you on the live stream, whatever you're talking about.
I'm sorry, my new microphone, I forgot to push the magic button there. So let me regroup what I was saying. As you can see in the ad here, this is for the Cosmic Consciousness in Disclosure event from 5devents.com. And it's from November 4th to November 7th. Mr. Keshe will be one of the speakers. He'll be appearing virtually. And you can see him in the upper left-hand corner of the event here. And this will be happening, Mr. Keshe will be speaking on November 6th. That's Saturday, November 6th. At 10 a.m. Pacific time, which is 6 p.m. Central European time. And I believe you'll have an hour, Mr. Keshe, in which to talk about, your topic is space technologies made by the Keshe Foundation, I believe. Now, one other thing about this, normally this is a paid live stream event, and it's available for $99 US for 3 days. That'll catch all of the speakers in this event. So people may wish to do that, and you can find out more information about that at 5dstream.com. I'll put the link in the chat. And but also knowledge seekers can watch the presentation with Mr. Keshe streamed live at 10 o'clock Pacific or 6 p.m. Central European time on Saturday, November 6th in a Zoom meeting ID 883-346-1826. And it's free, and there's no password is required. The people from 5dstream.com are requesting and would prefer a donation from people that would help offset their costs. but apparently they're allowing it to be streamed into that Zoom meeting, which is kind of them. So is there anything else you'd like to add about that, Mr. Keshe?
Not really. We have participated in these conferences 2-3 times before, and it's just to enlighten with a new knowledge on what is to come. We have a small position to clarify. We're getting knowledge seekers asking us for a job in the Keshe Foundation process factories or whatever, no knowledge of background, and they say because we want to come to learn, or we want to be there because then we can do things. We, at this moment of time, we need people who can complete the process for us, not for us to start from zero. If you have a skill which is you want to offer and we look at and it can be done, yes, we will be interested. The team of the Keshe Foundation for Research for Manufacturing will take it further, take it to the next level, to next understanding and how it can be used. But in general, we are not looking for people to bring. There is something very important to all of us. Those of you who want to relocate, especially to the country of Austria. Austria is one of the most expensive nations on this planet to live in. Don't get fooled that I get paid 2,000 euro. If you are left a few cents in your pocket at the end of the month, you're lucky. And the essence of when we take people up, the essence of immigration, the sense of adapting to a new place, all has to be taken into consideration. We are not saying that we employ only Austrians or whatever. Even if you're a German, even if you're knowledge seekers in Czech Republic, 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers from the lanes, you still have to go through that process. It has to be understood that we take experts and we go through with them. We take people who we think they are adding to our strength, and then we support them for their relocation. We support them for setting up, bringing their families in. We already start doing this with a number of families who have joined the Keshe Foundation team in Austria. And you got to realize that if you're requesting to join the Keshe Foundation as knowledge seekers or for work, you go through the system of the Austrian process of work. We have to get you a work permit. We have to get you the acceptance of the job. And then the regulation here dictates what we pay as salaries and how it can be fitted in. And we see this in number of knowledge seekers contacting us. Coming to Austria is not just being part of the factory. Everything else has to be considered. And you enter one of the most expensive nations on this planet to live in. And the salaries, don't get fooled by it, it's very high. But the expenses are very high as well. Most probably the highest on this planet at this moment. So if you apply or you want to work or have this skill, and if it's us to fit in without a structure, we help you. We do everything possible, but our team has to recognize your capability and how you fit into us. We have moved a number of families at the moment into the Keshe Foundation structure of the lanes, but we look after everything till they settle down. From their housing, their transport, everything else we can do. And there is a limitation in what we can put, but you have to understand, again, don't expect I'm coming there to work free or whatever. If you don't have the skill we want, you're coming free, then it becomes a burden on you and a problem for us. We cannot employ people with the rules and regulations free for nothing. And how come they are working for nothing? Where is their income coming from? Where is everything else we have to answer? So please understand this and try to be logical in trying to be part of the workforce in Austria for the Keshe Foundation. Thank you very much. So we call it a day. Rick, are you still with us?
Yes, hello, Mr. Keshe. Is there anything else that we need to say or
Nope.
Before we wrap up here?
Well,
There is the Testimonials group on Monday at 8 p.m. Central European time that people can do a show and tell of their experiences with the plasma technology. It'd be great to see some new faces there that would like to explain what they experienced with their products and experiments and that kind of thing. So people are welcome to attend that. Okay, I'll play a couple of the promotional videos to go out with, and I thank everybody for attending today's 405th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, November 4th, 2021. And of course, thank you, Mr. Keshe, once again for being there for us for another Knowledge Seekers Workshop here. Okay, here we go with the, I'll start with the air enhancement unit, and we'll take flight from
the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception. The Universal Body Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The very first new evolutionary spaceship technology has been rolled out for mass production. Embedding the essence of the new GANS plasma science and technology, it uses collective plasma field technology for changing and enhancing the environment of the body of the man. This new plasma enhancement changes the environment of the body to allow it to return to its natural, balanced, energetic condition, as in the womb of the mother, allowing every cell in the body of the man to find its natural, original field strength balance. The shape and field distribution in this new space plasma technology replicates the inner structure of the universe and replicates the balance fields from which the man was created at the point of inception in the womb of the mother, not only receiving balance in the physical, but also in the emotional sense too. This new spaceship technology can be within the reach of every man today and can be ordered by medical practitioners, sports specialists and healthcare centres.
The Universal Enhancement Spaceship Unit. The future you have been waiting for is here.